Most people live their lives led by feelings, ruled by circumstances, and driven by pressure. But that was never God's design. You were not created to be led by your body, tossed around by emotions, or controlled by what you see. You were created as a spirit being, and your spirit was meant to lead your life. The real you is not your body. The real you is not your mind. The real you is your spirit. And until you understand that, life will always feel like a struggle instead of a journey of faith. When the spirit is weak, the flesh dominates. When emotions are untrained, confusion takes control. But when your spirit is trained, life comes into divine order. A trained spirit is not loud, but it is steady. It does not panic, but it is confident. It does not rush, but it is certain. That inward witness, quiet, gentle, and firm, is the voice that knows the way even when the mind is unsure. Too many believers are waiting for signs, feelings, or dramatic confirmations when the answer has already been spoken in their spirit. Your spirit must be developed just like your body and mind. No one grows strong by accident. Strength comes through feeding, exercise, and discipline. If you feed your mind more than your spirit, your thoughts will dominate you. If you feed your body more than your spirit, your appetites will rule you. That if you feed your spirit, faith will rise, clarity will come, and peace will lead. The Word of God is the primary food of the human spirit. Reading it casually produces little strength, but meditating on it builds spiritual muscle. When the Word gets into your spirit, it begins to talk back to you. It corrects you, it guides you, it anchors you when storms come, and storms will come. But a trained spirit does not collapse under pressure. Prayer is not begging. It is fellowship. It tunes your spirit. It sharpens your sensitivity. It quiets the noise of the world so the inward voice becomes clear. Many miss divine direction not because God is silent, but because their spirit is untrained and distracted. When your spirit leads, fear loses its grip. When your spirit leads, faith becomes natural. You stop asking, what if it fails? And start declaring, I know whom I have believed. Confidence is not arrogance, it is the fruit of spiritual maturity. A trained spirit will stop you when your mind wants to rush. It will push you forward when your emotions want to quit. It will hold you steady when everything around you is shaking. That is how faith works, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. You were never meant to be confused, defeated, or double-minded. You were created to live from the inside, led by a spirit that knows God, trusts His Word, and walks in quiet assurance. Train your spirit, and it will lead your life into victory, consistency, and peace. Because when the Spirit leads, life follows, and faith always finishes strong. You are not a body trying to become spiritual. You are a spirit having a human experience. That truth changes everything when it settles deep inside you. The real you is not what you see in the mirror, not what feels pain or pleasure, and not even what processes thoughts and emotions. The real you is your spirit. Until you understand this, life will feel like a constant battle between what you feel and what you know is right. But once you recognize that you are a spirit first, order begins to come into your life. Your spirit is the part of you that connects with God. It is the part that receives faith, peace, wisdom, and direction. When people allow their bodies to lead, they live by cravings, comfort, and fear. When they allow their minds to lead, they live by logic alone, always reasoning, always questioning, never fully resting. But when the Spirit leads, there is balance. The body becomes a servant, not a master. The mind becomes a tool, not a ruler. Many struggles are not caused by a lack of faith, but by a lack of understanding of identity. People say they believe, yet they react emotionally to every situation. That reaction reveals who is really in charge. A spirit-led person does not deny emotions, but they do not obey them either. Feelings are real, but they are not reliable leaders. The Spirit sees beyond the moment and anchors itself in truth. When you identify as a spirit first, you stop living from the outside in and start living from the inside out. Circumstances no longer dictate your peace. Challenges no longer steal your confidence. You may feel pressure, but pressure does not control you. You may face uncertainty, but uncertainty does not confuse you. That stability comes from knowing who you are at the core. Your spirit was designed to dominate, to lead, and to govern your life under God's direction. It was never meant to be passive or ignored. Neglecting your spirit is like neglecting the foundation of a building. Everything above it becomes unstable. That is why some people collapse under pressure while others remain unshaken. The difference is not personality, it is spiritual awareness. Understanding that you are a spirit also changes how you respond to failure and success. Failure no longer defines you because your identity is not rooted in performance. Success no longer inflates you because your confidence is not rooted in pride. You learn to walk steady, grounded, and secure. That kind of life is not emotional, it is intentional. When your spirit is acknowledged and honored, it begins to speak more clearly. Direction becomes sharper. Conviction becomes stronger. Peace becomes deeper. You stop chasing every voice and every opinion because you are anchored on the inside. You learn to pause, listen, and move with purpose instead of panic. Living as a spirit first is not mystical or complicated. It is practical and powerful. It is choosing to let the inner man lead daily decisions, reactions, and responses. When the spirit leads, confusion decreases, fear weakens, and faith grows naturally. That is the foundation for a victorious, consistent, and disciplined life, one where the real you finally takes its rightful place in control. God does not primarily lead His people through outward signs, loud voices, or dramatic circumstances. He leads through the inward witness, the quiet, knowing that rises from the Spirit. Many miss direction because they are looking outside when the answer is already inside. The inward witness is gentle, but it is firm. It does not push or rush, yet it carries authority. Learning to recognize and trust it is essential to a spirit-led life. The inward witness is not a feeling. Feelings fluctuate. One moment they say go. The next moment they say stop. The inward witness remains steady even when emotions are unsettled. You may feel afraid, but inside there is a calm assurance. You may feel uncertain, yet deep within there is a quiet confidence. That contrast is often the clearest sign that the Spirit is speaking. Many people override the inward witness because it does not align with logic or convenience. The mind demands explanation. The flesh demands comfort, but the Spirit simply knows. It does not argue its case. It bears witness. Ignoring that witness leads to unnecessary struggles, while honoring it brings protection, peace, and progress. Sensitivity to the inward witness is developed, not automatic. Just like hearing becomes sharper with practice, spiritual perception grows through obedience. Every time you follow that inner prompting, your spirit becomes more accurate. Every time you ignore it, sensitivity dulls. Disobedience hardens perception, but obedience refines it. Noise is one of the greatest enemies of spiritual guidance. A busy mind, constant entertainment, and emotional overload can drown out the inward voice. Stillness sharpens discernment. When you quiet the outside, the inside becomes clearer. That is, confidence in life does not come from strong emotions or perfect circumstances. It comes from a trained spirit. When your spirit is undeveloped, you react to everything. You rise when things go well and collapse when pressure comes. But when your spirit is trained, you become steady. You are not easily shaken, not because life is easy, but because your foundation is strong. A trained spirit gives you inner assurance. That assurance is not loud or showy. It is calm and settled. You may not have all the answers, but you have peace. You may not see the full picture, but you know you are on the right path. That confidence allows you to move forward without fear, even when conditions are uncertain. Many people try to build confidence through external means of approval, success, recognition, or preparation alone. While these things have their place, they are unstable sources of strength. They can be taken away in a moment. A trained spirit, however, draws confidence from within. It knows who it belongs to. It knows what it believes. It knows where it stands. Pressure reveals the condition of your inner life. When challenges come, an untrained spirit panics, complains, and retreats. but a trained spirit responds with faith, patience, and endurance. It does not deny reality, but it refuses to be dominated by it. That kind of stability does not come overnight. It is the result of consistent spiritual training. Training your spirit requires intentional discipline. Just as muscles grow through resistance, spiritual strength develops through challenges. Every time you choose faith over fear, trust over doubt, and patience over frustration, your spirit becomes stronger. These choices may seem small, but they compound over time, producing deep-rooted confidence. A trained spirit also brings clarity in decision-making. Instead of being paralyzed by options and opinions, you move with quiet certainty. You are not rushed by urgency or pressured by others. You learn to wait when needed and act when prompted. That confidence prevents costly mistakes and unnecessary detours. Stability is one of the greatest testimonies of a trained spirit. In a world driven by anxiety and instability, calm assurance stands out. People notice when you are not easily rattled. They see when you remain consistent through highs and lows. That consistency is not personality, it is spiritual strength. When your spirit is trained, you stop measuring yourself by outcomes and start living from conviction. You are no longer dependent on constant reassurance. You trust what has been planted within you. That trust frees you from fear of failure and fear of man. True confidence is not self-reliance. It is spiritual reliance. It is knowing that you are supported from within, guided from within, and strengthened from within. And when that inner foundation is strong, life no longer controls you. You move through it with steady, unshakable confidence. Just as the body cannot grow strong without proper food, the spirit cannot grow strong without the right nourishment. The Word of God is not merely information for the mind, it is life and strength for the spirit. Many people read the Word occasionally and wonder why they feel spiritually weak. Strength does not come from exposure alone. It comes from consistent feeding and deep absorption. The Word becomes effective when it moves beyond reading and enters meditation. Reading informs, but meditation transforms. When you meditate, you slow down, focus, and allow truth to sink beneath the surface. You turn the Word over in your heart, speaking it quietly, thinking on it deliberately, until it becomes part of your inner consciousness. That is when the Word begins to produce spiritual strength. A well-fed spirit responds differently to life's pressures. When challenges arise, what has been planted inside you comes to the surface. If fear has been fed, fear will speak. If doubt has been entertained, doubt will dominate. But if the Word has been stored within, faith will rise naturally. You will not have to struggle to believe. Belief will already be there. The Word also renews the mind, aligning thoughts with spiritual truth. Many conflicts happen because the mind has not been retrained to agree with the Spirit. Meditation bridges that gap. It allows the mind to catch up with what the Spirit knows. Over time, inner conflict decreases and harmony increases between spirit and mind. Consistency matters more than intensity. Occasional bursts of reading cannot replace daily nourishment. Just as skipping meals weakens the body, neglecting the Word weakens the spirit. A steady intake builds endurance, clarity, and confidence. Even when you do not feel immediate results, growth is happening beneath the surface. The Word trains your spirit to recognize truth over circumstances. Situations may say one thing, but the Word declares another. When the Word is deeply rooted, you respond according to truth rather than appearances. That is how faith becomes practical and effective in everyday life. Meditating on the Word also sharpens spiritual sensitivity. It tunes your inner ear to recognize God's direction. The more familiar your spirit becomes with truth, the quicker it detects error or misalignment. Discernment is not a mysterious gift. It is often the result of a Word-filled spirit. A spirit fed on the Word develops endurance. It does not quit easily. It does not collapse under delay. It learns to stand firm, trusting that what has been promised will come to pass. That endurance produces maturity, and maturity produces stability. When the Word dwells richly within you, It becomes your reference point. Decisions, reactions, and attitudes are filtered through it. You stop being driven by impulse and start being guided by conviction. That is the power of feeding your spirit. The Word becomes life within you, shaping how you think, live, and overcome. Spiritual sensitivity does not happen by accident. It is the result of discipline and intentional living, just as physical senses become sharper through use and dull through neglect. Spiritual perception follows the same principle. A disciplined life creates an environment where the Spirit can speak clearly and be heard accurately. Discipline often sounds restrictive, but in reality, it produces freedom. When you discipline your time, your thoughts, and your habits, you remove distractions that cloud spiritual perception. A cluttered life creates a cluttered inner world. Too much noise, too many voices, and too many competing priorities make it difficult to recognize the quiet prompting of the Spirit. Learning to say no is a vital part of spiritual discipline. Not everything that